with you guys, right? I miss everybody. And some of you, I see some new faces here. Maybe we're meeting for the first time. So I'm not sure how a Q&A goes, but I'm ready for any questions that you have. And don't be afraid to speak up, because probably one of your questions is probably on the minds of a lot of other people too.
Yes, I'm going to ask you these questions here, Darlene. Are you ready? Which I know you are.
Ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
Okay. One of the first questions that I want to ask you, how do you deal with new consumers?
Okay.
How do you?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, can you give me a little bit more detail about how do I deal with new consumers? Like, for example.
Yeah. For an example, when you introduce the products to them.
Okay.
And then how do you approach them? How do you keep them involved? How do you pique their interest?
And this is kind of like you're talking about a brand new person who's never heard of Atomy before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we need to back up a little bit because, there really is no one answer to that. And I'll say it depends on the person. So one of my concepts that I start with, okay, whether it's training or, introducing the business for myself personally, or training other people, right? How to approach somebody. There's not one just straight answer that's going to work with everybody. It depends on the person you're talking to. So basically, I want you to remember to customize, right? Because human beings are also different. So there's not one approach that's going to work for everybody. So what I've done is I always, you kind of observe, you kind of have some kind of sense based on where are you when you meet the person? Are you in public? Are you in a house? It depends on the situation. So what I would say is use your judgment, be very flexible, okay, and always think about what is the other person hearing from you? Because it's not about what you want to say, right? It's about connecting to that other person. So you kind of have to put yourself in that other person's shoes. Not everybody can do that. Sometimes it takes a moment, but you really have to start from putting yourself in their shoes, thinking of like, what is the situation they're in? Do they only have 2 minutes? Or are you having lunch with them and you can talk more casual, right?
Right.
So if you only have a couple minutes with them, I would say, what is the goal? The goal is to have some more time with them, to maybe schedule more time with them. You can't do everything at one time. It's step by step. So I want to give an example of how you have to customize. You think of your own group. Is everyone in your group, are they the same? Do they have the same time schedule? Do they have the same personal situation, right? So some people have done another business before. And I would say if they've done another business before, if they're looking for a business opportunity, you might have to start off with talking about the business first. Because if you start talking about something else, they're like, yeah, all products are the same, just tell me about the compensation plan. Like they already have this expectation of they have a question, they want to hear this. Now, it would be great if you could say, well, listen to me first for what I want to tell you. But it's not about what we want to tell them sometimes. It's if they aren't going to listen to you until you answer this one question, then answer their question first. Talk about what they want to talk about first. Get that out of the way. Because sometimes if it's, let's say, a business person, they got all these walls up. They're not going to listen to you because they're thinking, okay, how much does it cost to join? What's the minimum requirement? They already have these things. So by talking about what they want to talk about first, you're kind of bringing the walls down, right? Those defense mechanisms they have. So sometimes you have to talk about what they want to talk about, get those topics out of the way so that they can those barriers can come down, and they're open to listening to you because they feel more safe. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, when you're talking about products, for example, if it's somebody who's never done a business before, and I've actually had partners, they never had a job before, you know, sometimes they've been dedicating their whole life to their children and their families. Well, you kind of have to know a little bit about, if we're talking about warm market, right? About if it's a referral that was brought to you by someone else. We kind of ask them, well, what's their situation right now? You know, what do you think their first product would be? So get some kind of information that can kind of give you a lead. So would they be interested in the nutrition? Would they be interested in skincare? And if you don't know anything about this person, let's say you have no idea what they would be interested in. You have no idea if they've done another business before. I would say talk about what you love the most. Okay, because in that situation, you don't know anything about them. You can't customize what you're going to say. So you say what you love the most. Let your passion and share your heart. And then when they start talking back to you, you'll get some more information. Oh, you know, I've done a business before. It was similar to that. Or, oh, you know what? Right now I'm looking for this product. So sometimes you have to start with what you love and then start observing the information that's coming out, right? Because they'll start talking to you. But, you know, the answer is not just a one quick answer. Let's say you don't know anything about them and you're doing cold market. You know, cold market is kind of like you don't know this person. Maybe you're going door to door somewhere. I get these calls. Somebody gave my phone number out. And these people
Yeah.
would just call me, you know. So sometimes they don't want to give information because they don't know you. So they're going to be like, well, I heard about this. Can you tell me about it? And so my answer, the way I talk, might be different from what you say. But basically, I fell in love with the concept of the company, you know, the principles, the concept of the company. That's what's so different to me versus other network marketing or any other business. So I start talking about the concepts first. And then I start to go into what happened to me. And I share my testimony. And I think that should be your go-to. Like if I tell you, this is what you need to say, if you try to be me, it's not going to be authentic. And nowadays people can tell if you're authentic or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, the most important thing is not to be perfect. I think the most important thing is to be authentic. Okay. So think about, you know, after this, of course, think about what your testimony is. What happened to you when you first met Atomy? You know, that's going to come out of your heart. And so when you start talking to people for the first time and they say, I heard about Atomy. What is this? Or you approach somebody and say, have you heard about Atomy before? They're going to say, no. Tell me about it. You share your heart, what you think Atomy is. I can't tell you what it is. For me, it might be different answer for you. Some people, they love the motto. They fell in love with the motto. That's what got them interested. Or they had a huge testimony about the hemoheme. You know, it really helped their body and helped their families. Or they were looking for a business in a really hard time. And then they're now stable and they have hope for the future. So they could say, oh, I met Atomy and I have a brighter hope for my future. Before I met Atomy, I was like this. And after I met Atomy, I was like that. So you have to come up with your own answer so it's authentic to you. You know, a lot of people think that there's some kind of template to follow. But I said, even if there was, you know, and you try to say it, it might not connect with people because it's not as authentic coming from your heart.
That's true. That's
so true. I hope that you could think about that.
Yeah.
And was it the company business that you fell in love with first? Was it the product that you fell in love with first? Do you know anything about that person? And I would tell you, what you do this week will be different from what you do next week.
Yeah.
Right? We got these new products that just came out. Some people are so excited about that product, they're going to talk about that first because it's a good introduction product, isn't it? And
Yes.
then next week, the plant calcium is going to come out. They might talk about that first because they're so excited. So whatever you have in your heart at the moment, go with it. Don't think you have to be someone else. I hope that
That's
was a good
great.
enough answer.
Yes, that's great. You know, there's so many health, Darlene. There's so many health products out there today that have been advertised. What do you think the natural health industry is going today?
Um, well, you know, we have to address the fact that, we are living in a pandemic
Yes.
and the world is transforming as we speak. And it is a new world, okay,
Yeah.
right now. And it's going to keep changing. And so it's okay. We need to adjust. We need to accept the fact that we can't go back to before. So I do think that the health industry and the nutrition industry is really going to be focused on immune system and individuals taking care of themselves, taking responsibility for their own health. And preventative care is finally going to be on the minds of people because that's a big issue right now. And before, you would hear a lot, I'll take it when I get sick,
Right.
or I'm okay right now.
That's true.
But we're all learning now. We need to be healthy before we get anything, whether that's a cold virus, right? Or anything else. We could get a little virus, and that's still going around too. So I think that finally people are going to be, besides Atomians, Atomians been talking about immune system forever, for years. But now we're finally seeing on the news that they talk about the immune system and what
Yes.
helps the immune system,
Yes.
right? So I think that's the direction it's going to go in. We're in the right place. We
Yes.
have the right products. And on a little side note, one of the things was, we all went through this pandemic and the shock at the beginning. Well, one of the things for me was I really wanted to help people, but I didn't know
Oh,
what to do,
thank you.
right? But honestly, if you are an Atomian, you have something in your hands right now that can benefit a lot of people. We can help people during the pandemic. We may not be nurses or doctors and can't go volunteer or things like that, but we can help people. We have good products. We have very good nutrition that's not at a high cost. We have the hemoheme, okay, directly for the immune system. We can educate people, have them focus on, health, right? And we can also help people who are losing their jobs right now. And, I was just telling somebody recently that I don't think this economy is going to pop back up. I think we're going to be in a very bad economy for the next 2 or 3 years. So we also have a free tool that can help people during the pandemic. So if you're like me and you feel like helpless, you want to do something, you can't control this pandemic, and you just want to help, I realized, well, what do I have to help others? I have Atomy. And when I do Atomy during this pandemic, I feel like I'm doing something about this situation right now. So,
Oh, that's great. You know, just being involved, helping people. You mentioned the model of Atomy is awesome. That separates is the multi level company that we're with other companies too. So you like the model of Atomy. What else do you like about Atomy?
the one thing that stood out to me when I first met Atomy I met the Atomy product first, but then at my very first seminars when I met the business, okay, what stood out to me was the mutual benefit. that you can actually do a business and you can make a lot of money and you can feel good about it because it's a win-win strategy and it's mutual benefit. And it's not really lopsided, because if you really look at everything, there really is mutual benefit here. And it's almost like you cannot be successful unless you help somebody else. I'm like, that's a good concept. And it's a good feeling business that anybody can do. Now, I don't know about you if you've met people like this, but there's some people, I don't want to have anything to do with a business, because they think business is like a bad word.
Yeah.
Because they have this stigma about what the word business means. They say, oh, business means, one person's winning and the other side's losing. Or you got to take advantage of somebody. You got to, do bad to somebody to make it rich. And I'm like, well, not here in Atomy. Maybe some other business that you heard of or that you were involved in, and maybe they got hurt in that. I'm not talking about a home business. Could be anything, right? Regular stores or, I don't know, buying a car or something, but somehow they felt taken advantage of. So they associated that with every single business.
Yeah.
And I would say, don't do that, because not all businesses are the same. Definitely not the same. And here the concept was to really be, you could even see it in the policies of this company, in the regulations of this company over the years and what they're doing now. They really care about protecting the people, having people making sure that the people who are in Atomy now have long-term success. They're just not focused on making money from people and just them surviving. They've connected to the members and know that they have to take care of the members too. So this mutual benefit, the win-win strategy that's built in to this compensation plan, and the heart and care that's built into these principles. And, as things start to pop up in the business, as it does, maybe they see some bad strategies going on, they take,
Yeah.
and the intention of the company is seen through the policies, the compensation plan, the win-win. That's what I see as such a huge difference, compared to anything else.
Great. Give us a time, or if you ever felt like quitting and you felt it was hard. Have you ever felt that way before?
Oh, yes. Now, when you say quitting, I would use these, I never thought about quitting the products, because some of the products have worked for me better than anything else I've ever tried in my whole life. Okay. And I would use the products even if I didn't do the business. So that never crossed my mind, because I'm so appreciative to some of these products, and also some testimonies of family and some people that I know. But when we talk about quitting, if we're talking about quitting the business or quit volunteering, I would say most of the time when I felt like, oh, this is so difficult, is this worth it? A lot of the times I felt like quitting volunteering. You know why? Because I never wanted to speak in front of people. And, it's not easy when I first started, because I felt like an outsider. There was no one like me. The meetings were all in Korean. The first seminar I went to was the first one they had English translation. It was not every month. I think back then it was once every 6 months. And so I really fell in love with the company, the concept, the system. I studied that compensation plan. I was like, this is genius. Fell in love with the products, and I really wanted to run, but the system was not set up yet for English speakers at the time. And so it was frustrating. Sometimes I would just like, I couldn't get what I wanted, right? I didn't have the resources. And so in the early days, I did feel like, oh man, when's this going to happen? Maybe it's impossible for me. They all speak Korean. I understand very little, Korean. And so I'm like, I would go to the Korean meetings. That was part of my testimony, is to go to the Korean meetings because I wanted to see what's going on. I can see things that need to be improved. How can I help? I would volunteer and say, let's go. What do you need? I would just be there because I wanted to see, but it wasn't comfortable for me. I felt left out. I felt like, I don't know what they're talking about. And it was that insecurity, my own insecurity made me think that, oh, I don't know if it's going to work. It's my own insecurity that made me doubt. It wasn't the facts of the company. It wasn't really the people. They were welcoming to me. I felt left out by myself. But what happened was I told myself all these things are temporary because somehow God gave me hope and faith and a vision and said, well, this can change. This can get better. Just wait. It'll get better. I don't know why, but I just chose that's the way I'm going to think. And so I kept going to the Korean meetings. When I felt a little left out, I'm like, that's all right. I'm like, that's all right. Later, I'll bring my friend or, something like that. I know it's going to get better. We live in America. We're going to have an English meeting one day. And so what I did was I couldn't just sit back and wait. I'm not that type of person. So I took initiative and I had, given my time, asked them if they needed any help. I would stick around to the end of the meeting, see what's going on, because I was hungry for information.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. So one of the question I also want to ask you, how do you deal with people that feel that they're not a good seller, and can they still that they don't feel that they can't do the business because they're not a good seller? And if you could throw into the fact that one of the questions that someone wanted to know about not only a good seller, but kind of include people that always say they don't have the money to buy the products.
Okay, let me take the first one.
Okay, thank you.
First part, and then remind me of the second part.
Okay.
The first one is, people say, well, sales master, right? It's a master of sales. And people say, well, I don't know how to sell. Well, depends on who you talk to. Okay, we have different perspectives. In the beginning, we used to say, it's not selling, it's sharing, right?
Yeah.
We're not selling to them. We're introducing the Atomy membership and the Atomy online shopping mall. They're going to purchase it directly from Atomy. They're not purchasing it from us. Then some people say, well, but we still kind of got to promote the product. That's kind of like selling, isn't it? You're promoting the product. I'm like, okay, that's true. So some people say it's not selling, it's telling.
Mm-hmm.
That's true too.
Yeah.
We're telling them about this product that we love. Okay. I'm not a great seller either. If we're talking about one-on-one and I'm just meeting somebody, you have this concept of like, or this image of what a seller is, right? Because you've met salespeople and you're like, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
But what it is if you really look at it, selling is just, in Atomy, selling is just telling them what you like, why you like it, okay? And then see if they want to try it too. That's all that is. So can you do that? Yes, a lot of people can sell. They just gotta delete that first idea of what selling is and embrace this new concept, right? That's why some people call it sharing because they don't want to use the word selling, so they call it sharing. But isn't it all the same? Yeah. You're introducing a product that you like and you're hoping that they try it too. And is it sharing? Yes. It's not The reason people say it's not selling is because your intention is different. Let's say I approach you and I really love this product and it really cleared up my acne. And I want to help this person because I know they have acne problems too. My intention is I want to help them. Isn't it? You're helping. That's why you're sharing this product. And you're selling it at the same price you get it. So that's why some people say it's not selling. It's the same price as what you buy it for. And you're just trying to help them get rid of a problem.
Mm.
So whatever fits in your heart, if you don't like that word selling, really it's sharing because your intention is to help the other person. Sometimes people say selling because I'm only approaching you to make a sale. Isn't it? The intention there is different.
Yes.
So I would say, because I'm not comfortable with selling at a markup and approaching people just to make a sale, and if somebody did that with me, I could probably feel it from them and it probably wouldn't work.
Right.
So I would say, reach down in your heart. What is your intention of introducing this product? And if your intention is just to sell it, to make the PV or move the product, I would say back up, change your intention when you approach people, and maybe your success rate might go up if you just change that intention.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It does. One of the questions, the second part two of that is one of the questions that came out from one of the person online here is that what I normally do is if people feel they don't have any money, I ask them about their health. What's more important? So I'm sure you have something, to add to that.
Well, that's very good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you point that out.
Yeah.
Because when we're talking about new customers, right?
Right.
Over time, through your experience, when you approach new customers, you're going to see the same pattern pop up. Yeah. New customers seem to have a same pattern, same responses sometimes. Okay. And I will tell you, it's harder to tolerate the longer you're here.
Yeah.
Because it's predictable. It's predictable what people say, and then we have to address it because we know that's not really true.
Right.
Let's say somebody says, you approach them and you say, I really was helped with this Hemoheme, you got to try it, or the Omega really helped me. And before they even know the price, before they even know how much monthly supply it is, they just say, I don't have money for the product. Yeah. Or even if it's like toothbrush, toothpaste. Oh, no, I don't have money right now.
Yeah.
Do you really think that they don't have money? They buy toothbrush, toothpaste already.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I said about the Omega was the Omega is a 3-month supply for $20.50. It breaks down to less than $7 a month. You spend more than $7 a month on cookies, on your candy bars, okay, on your Starbucks, come on.
Yeah.
So in reality, they're just spending their money on other things. And like you said, when you bring up your health, when you make that real point, right, with them and connect with them in that way,
yeah,
they'll realize, oh, I do have the money. It's just I'm spending in other places when they should be spending it on their health, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
It's kind of like helping people to open up their vision a little bit, right? Sharing your perspective. So when I break down the cost of a product, and then you mention and you connect with them, because we've all bought cookies before. We've all bought Starbucks and candy bars before. We just got to help them to remember those things and connect with them in that way. And they're like, oh yeah, it opens their mind a little bit. Now, some people really have very, very, very low income. And maybe they're not the breadwinners in the house. So sometimes they have to go ask somebody to buy certain product. I would say you introduce those introductory products first, things that they already use in their house. This is not extra. The laundry detergent, the toothbrush, toothpaste is just switching, right?
Right.
Switching from their brand to the better Atomy brand, whatever the product is. And sometimes I say, we're not trying to sell a specific product. We're trying to promote a brand, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm just going to touch on this really quick. Like, if I mention Gucci, if I say the brand, if I say Gucci, it brings up a feeling in you, right?
Yeah.
That's not even associated with the word Gucci, but we have a feeling associated with that brand, or Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
Or Chanel. These are all brands. And so what I like to do is I like to promote the brand. What does the word Atomy mean? What does the brand mean to people? So that's better, because we got so many more products now than when I first started. We can't spend time on, selling every single individual product. But if we conceptualize that brand, when they hear the word Atomy, maybe they'll think health, quality, right? They'll think of the experience that they had with their Atomy product, isn't it? For business people, it's different. When you hear the word Atomy, like you talked about quitting, right?
Right.
Yes, there's been all the difficult times I've had in Atomy was not because of Atomy, not because of the facts. Let's be real. The hardest part in Atomy is the people, because we have so many different types of people, different characteristics, right? We want to control their mind. We want to control what they do. And,
Right.
sometimes it doesn't work out, and there's jealousy and all kinds of things. These are the things that really get to me, because I'm an emotional person. Some other people, that don't bother them at all. So they wouldn't think about slowing down or anything if it had to do with that. So everybody's a little different, right? Those times I said that I wanted to back off from volunteering, because let's say you speak in front of people, somebody's going to criticize you. Somebody's going to. It's a guarantee, And I didn't want that, because I cared a lot about what people thought. Until my passion became greater than my fear. And I really identified why I was doing Atomy. I wasn't doing Atomy to get everybody's approval. So you always go back to your why, and then it brings you back. Now, let me tell you, anytime you think about quitting, those times I thought about quitting was because I lost my mind. I just lost my mind. I was like, and then when you get your mind back,
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck was I thinking of? I can't believe I thought that. So will you lose your mind during your lifetime here in Atomy? Of course, but you'll get it back. All those times, if anybody says they're thinking about quitting, just think, oh, they lost their mind. I'm gonna wait a little bit. Wait till they calm down.
Right.
So yes, there's some people, they say that the products are too expensive for them. Well, it depends on their situation. I would say if they're using any of the products, which they could, because a lot of our products they're already using, have them switch the brand. As they're doing the business, aren't they going to earn commission? Yes.
Yes.
So their financial status will grow. They just got to hang in there, keep going. As their financial status grows, they're not going to say they can't afford their own products. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, Darlene. We're getting great answers tonight to mostly everybody's questions. And I hope you're taking it down with a pen and a piece of paper, because this is really good information. How do you, as a leader, Darlene, lead your team? how do you motivate and lead them, give them that inspiration and that unk, to move to the next level?
Well, I would say everybody's group is different, right? Everybody's downline, your contents of your downline may be totally different than the contents of somebody else's downline. Just
Right.
depends, okay?
Mhm.
So I always start with, where do they need balance? I always put myself in their shoes.
Mhm.
So if you know this person, you can't motivate. It's yeah, I know we have these Zooms with like a lot of people, and we have to say something general to motivate everybody. Okay, even on the ODS, right? They're not going to customize it to you. So in that kind of setting, you do have to say some kind of general motivation. Okay. But whenever possible, if you're dealing with your leaders, for example, what works the best is to customize the motivation. You know, where do you see they need improvement? Where do you see that they're most insecure? And so you motivate in that way, because the goal is always their success, their happiness, their well-being, right? What I usually do is, what would I want someone to say to me? Now, I know what I'm saying sounds like it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Right.
It is easier said than done.
Yeah.
I remember being new, and it's not easy at the beginning. You have to have more experience, and then it gets easier to do the business. But remember, I started out as a brand new person. I know how to do like PowerPoint now, but I look back, I'm like, I wasn't born knowing how to make a PowerPoint. None of us was born like that. We all started not knowing how to do something. And then we committed ourselves, and we were determined to learn it. If you're determined to learn something, you can be an expert. I would say set your sights on being an expert at Atomy, not just getting by and not just doing only what you like. Now, later, maybe you can afford to just do what you like, but at the beginning, you just have to accept it. You have to do some things that you aren't good at. Wouldn't it be great if we could just only do our talent? But at the beginning, when you're by yourself, I remember me, I didn't have any partners. We talk about teams, right?
Right.
Oh, you're the people in your team, their talents are your talents. That's true when you have a team. But when you don't have a team, you don't even have a downline yet, and you have no partner, it's all you. So you have to do the things that you're not talented in, but you still got to do it. Later, when you have a team, it becomes easier. Somebody has a great talent for Zoom. Somebody has a great talent in recruiting. Somebody has a great talent in selling. Well, you team up together. And I always say, I love Atomy because it's teamwork. I don't have everything. Maybe I can do something that you can't do, but you can do something I can't do. So if we partner together, that makes it the best, right?
Right.
God didn't make us just perfect. I think he made us this way, so we need to connect with people and team up with people.
Right.
So yeah.
That's great. That's great. I 100% agree with you on that right there, because most people do feel like they're out there by themselves and they don't have the help. And what did you say about people that they get the help at the same time? You, as a leader, you're constantly pushing them to into their destiny. Does it? How do you regroup from that? Does it burn you out, or how do you deal with that?
Well, this kind of touches on how do you motivate people, right?
Yeah.
So the intention there, are you trying to motivate them? Or are you trying to get them to do what you want them to do?
Yeah.
That there's a difference.
Yeah.
Motivating them they still have the control of what direction they're going into. And sometimes we get very frustrated because they're not turning into the person we want them to be, or they're
Right.
not doing what I told them to do. Well, a lot of times our instructions are the best for them, but they don't realize it because they don't have the vision yet. And it, like I was saying, it's hard to tolerate sometimes. We're human beings. We get frustrated. We've been telling somebody, we told the same answer to somebody like 10 times, and then they're going to ask us again like they never even heard us. That happens a lot.
Yeah. Right.
And it gets frustrated to say it the 11th time. But sometimes let's just do it.
Yeah.
Because, there's something that I'm reminding myself recently. And I probably should have been reminding myself this all along, but I want to pass it to you guys. I wrote it down because I had it on a Post-it on my computer. And so basically it's, life is better when I assume that people are doing their best. And there was a quote out there that says, it keeps me out of judgment and lets me focus on what is and not what should be or could be. And in that moment, we do need to focus on what is.
Wow.
Because what gets us frustrated is we're judging them, or, and I'm at fault too of that. And I'm focused on what could be or what should be. But in the reality, it is what is right now. Okay. I would say, you can't be doing that over and over because it's going to frustrate you. It's going to be damaging to you. It's going to affect the other people that you deal with too. So there are certain categories, right, of people. Let's say in your group, you have consumers. They just want to use the products. You have some business people. They want to check every once in a while. And then you have these mastership partners focused on the business and focused on climbing up the mastership. Well, it could be that you expect this person to be in the mastership category, but you're not looking at what is, right? You want them to be in the mastership category, but they may only be in the consumer category. They're a consumer who love the products. They're sharing with people right now. Maybe they're getting some orders, but you wish they would hurry up. Okay. So, we have to remember it's not about what we want for them. It's about what are they willing to do. Maybe it's not the right time. Can you motivate them? To a certain degree, you can. But when you've tried and tried and tried, and now to the point where you are so frustrated and you're so stressed and you're damaging yourself and you're grouchy to everybody else, then it's a time to maybe change your view and your expectation of that person. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Great. That's awesome. Questioning the answers that Darlene has given us tonight. And I tell you, did everybody get a lot of information from Darlene tonight? Wow, I know I did. That's awesome, Darlene. Thank you so much. As it's a lot of work that I'm sure, Darlene, this came by experience, trials, errors, motivation. Like you said, when you got in, you couldn't understand the Korean language. I'm like you. I was in Korea for a whole year. I know I speak Scotia just a little bit of Korean language. But Atomy has broadened now to all over different states and all over the nation, and we're opening other entities right now. And we have an opportunity as Atomineers to go and be successful if we apply ourselves and don't give up, don't quit. It's a good thing about it, what I like, that we can lean on each other. And that's great about Atomy. We can lean as a team. Well,
I would say, don't forget your why. Everyone here, I can tell you why you should do Atomy, but personally, Always remember when you hear the word Atomy, don't think of a person. Don't even think of a specific product, I would say. When you hear the word Atomy, I want you to think of your dream, your
Yes.
personal dream. I can tell you why you need to do it, but I think it's better if you remember, why did you start Atomy? And when you hear that word Atomy, make it trigger your thoughts. Think of your dream, and you can overcome anything. Okay? Thank you so much. You know, Mr. Kevin Dunn, you are very good at this.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But you're even better. You gave us some ideas and you gave us a vision. You know, we're motivated now. I can feel it. So thank you again, Darlene, Sharon Rose Master. We loved hearing you. I heard you before. You're just awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
At this particular time, we're going to go into some announcements, and I am going to ask Sunny Lovelace, Diamond Master, if she will come and give us some announcements. Let's give her a hand.
I think Martin.
Martin, not. I don't think he's on.
Okay. We have the plant calcium tomorrow, launching tomorrow. So please just expect you can buy tomorrow plant calcium finally. And also we have a success seminar this Saturday, March 20. So please expect that and share, invite your friends. Thank you.
Great. Also, we have new products. I have bought the figs. I don't know if anybody else bought them. I am trying to slim my waistline. And those figs are natural. And I bought the American figs and they have the crusty around them. And I thought maybe the Atomy figs are going to be the same way with the walnuts. They are natural and real. They are just awesome. So you need to try those new products, and the calcium will be out as well. It's
Hey,
great.
Kevin.
Yes.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make a quick comment on the snack bites. If you have not tried them yet, you really need to. They are very filling. I mean, they will hold you over until that next moment. They are solid. They are full. They will hold you. I'm telling you, it is a great product. Grand Slam Atomy. Grand Slam.
Great, great. So we have time for a couple more questions. If anybody have just two questions, that's it. Anybody have? Okay.
Jay Johnson. I have a question about enrollment. I'm struggling with the best way to do this. So if I have a new person, do I have to be physically with them online to get them enrolled, or can I give them the ID and the password and let them do it themselves? The reason I'm asking is because doing one at a time takes time and it's slow. So what is the best way to enroll a person?
I'm going to give that to Darlene.
I would say, even though it takes time and it's slow, that's your opportunity to connect with the person. Basically, you're holding their hand because you've introduced Atomy to them, and they're actually doing you a favor by trusting you, right? To become a member also. And they don't know anything about it. So during that time of registration, you're actually taking care of that person. So you got to think of it that way. Don't think of it as a burden, right? You're holding their hand and you're showing them that you're going to be there for them. And yeah, it does take some time, but you know, if they're on the phone with you, and let's say you're putting in the information, right? They're just giving you the information over the phone. You're going to put their phone number in, the code's going to go to their phone. And you say, give me that code, you know, because it's a new thing. It wasn't there in the beginning, but it's to verify that the person knows that they're being registered. So it's like one of those safety precautions that they put in. But I did that recently. I was on the phone with the person. She was on her walk. She was doing exercise. She had her Fitbit on and she's, and she wanted me to register her. And so that's what we did.
Okay.
Now, you could have a partner who could help you. Let's say you're busy and this person needs to register. Well, your partner can help you register people. So both of you can be registering at the same time. But I would say that's your moment to really show them that's a people to be people thing, that you're going to be there for them. And sometimes they don't just register if you give them information because they don't trust. But if you're there with them, they'll trust, right?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, one last quick question. If we have one last question, if not, we're going to end our meeting tonight.
I have a question
Okay.
for Darlene. Thank you so much, Darlene. You are such an inspirational. I just want to know, I think you said that there were times when you feel like you want to quit, but you didn't. So what hold you back or what help you bounce back?
I never really thought about like quitting Atomy. I used to think about quitting the seminar. I'm not going to volunteer anymore. Or I'm so frustrated, It's like backing up a little bit and not being in the front. So let's say I'm speaking in front of people. That's volunteering, that's participating.
Right.
And sometimes, you just feel like, oh, I got criticized too much, or, all these people trying to tear me down, right? Trying to discredit me and all this kind of stuff. I said, I'm just going to go into hiding. Those are the times I lost my mind. I was only thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking about my partners. I wasn't thinking about others in that moment. Mm-hmm. And so I had to come back and get my mind straight. So those are the times about quitting. But what was your question? About how did I?
Yeah, how do you bounce back? I mean,
Well, my bounce back really was personal. I think when you're doing Atomy, it's a personal thing in your life. You could be doing something else. You don't have to be doing Atomy. You have a why, and maybe you just haven't written it down or identified it. But in those times when you're just by yourself, right? That's your personal decision. What helped me bounce back was my why, was my dream.
Mm-hmm.
And it always has to come back to something personal in you. And so that's why it's not as easy as like you just listen to somebody and you just adopt their why, right? Or just follow a template. And it's really not, you're not going to be as successful as you could be if you, let's say, take that template and make it yours, customize it to your personality. So the things that will make you always bounce back is your dream. Why are you here? Everybody in the world can say, oh, I'm here in Atomy because of this. Maybe you're in it for a different reason. So it doesn't matter what the majority says, why they're here or why you should be here. What's most important is your personal reason why you're here. And so it helped me. Sometimes I can't do things myself. I can actually do more if I think about who I'm helping. It's almost like if it's just for me, I might be a little lazy about it. But if I got to do something because I have to help my partner, or I have to because it's for someone else, that's what personally motivates me. Doesn't motivate everybody. Some people are motivated more about what's in it for them, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fine, whatever motivates you. But I know myself. And so even though I don't like to be on a big stage, at the time, some people, and I didn't really want to be doing presentation, but I started to do marketing plan because I said, they're not saying what I want them to say, or like, I think this is a great point and no one's making it. So I motivated myself to do it because I thought about other people. And I thought about the other people, oh, are they hearing, maybe that one is kind of confusing, or maybe I could be of help. So sometimes other people, or helping other people, my concern for other people kind of motivates me to do more than I really think I can do.
Thank you.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah, you know, this right here, if you got this information from another seminar, you probably pay $1,000 to get into the show. And we just got it free, you know, and it's very motivating. And I'm so glad everybody came on tonight. Great information. Darlene, give her a hand again. She was just awesome. She's awesome. Thanks for the wisdom, Darlene. So we're going to go and get ready to end our meeting tonight. And I know everybody got some great information. They can start tomorrow and going out there and using some of these techniques and these tools. Don't forget about next week. We're going to be doing another Q&A, I believe, for next week for people that have questions and feel like they just need to hear some wisdom from people that have gone through the crevices and trials and tribulations that can give them some wisdom to keep them motivated and stay focused on, and continue to ask the why, as Darlene so well put it. Continue to ask the why. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Yes.
That was kind of weak again. So you could come off of mute. Everybody come off the mute.
That'll help.
That will help. I only heard one person.
That was kind of weak.
Yeah. That was a secret. Okay. But are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Cherish the spirit, create the vision,
For
the faith, serve in humility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great night.
Nice, thank you.
Good night.